You know, when we think of Mother Earth, we tend to picture this calm, gentle, nurturing figure. But if you go back to the original Mother Earth of Greek mythology, Gaia, you find someone way more complex. Yes, she was the bedrock of the entire cosmos, but she was also its greatest revolutionary, a constant, relentless force of rebellion against the very gods she helped put in power.
The ancient poets, like in this Homeric hymn, they got part of it right. They called her the mother of all, the primordial wellspring of all life. She is stability. She's the literal ground that gods and mortals walk on. She is the beginning of everything.
And that's the big question, isn't it? How does the ultimate creator, the very foundation of reality itself, turn around and become the #1 enemy of the divine order? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into.
So here's our roadmap. We're going to follow her story right from the beginning through her 3 epic rebellions against the rulers of the universe, and then see how her legacy is still incredibly relevant today.
All right, let's start at the very, very beginning. So according to the poet Hesiod, you have the big empty void of chaos, and then, boom, Gaia just appears. She wasn't born from anyone. She just came into being, creating a stable ground in a universe that had none.
Now, what's just wild about Gaia's power at this point is a little thing called parthenogenesis. It means she can reproduce all by herself, no partner needed. She had this raw, total biological autonomy, and she used it to literally build the world out of her own being.
And check out how she does it. First, she gives birth to Uranus, the starry sky, to be her equal, and as the myths put it, to cover her on every side. Then she creates the Ourea, the mountains, and Pontus, the sea. All on her own, she lays out the entire physical blueprint for our world.
But, not everyone in the ancient world had the exact same story. While Hesiod has Gaia just popping into existence, the Orphic tradition had this more mystical version, where a cosmic egg, created by time itself, hatches, and out come both Gaia and Uranus. But either way you slice it, her role is the same. She is the absolute starting point for reality.
So she builds the world, everything's peaceful, but that doesn't last, not even close. This is where the story takes a hard left turn, and Gaia goes from being a cosmic architect to a cosmic revolutionary.
So Gaia and her son Uranus have more kids, the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires, who are these incredibly powerful, kind of monstrous beings. But Uranus is disgusted and terrified by them, and in an unbelievably cruel move, he shoves them right back into Gaia's womb, trapping them deep inside her.
And this quote from Hesiod really gets to the heart of it. This wasn't some political squabble for her. This was personal. It says she groaned within, feeling this immense physical and emotional pain from having her children literally imprisoned inside of her. That pain, that becomes the fuel for the first divine regime change in history.
So Gaia doesn't just suffer, she strategizes. She actually forges an unbreakable sickle from adamant deep within herself. Then she goes to her other kids, the Titans, for help. Most are too scared, but the youngest, Cronus, he's in. She masterminds the whole thing, sets up the ambush, and Cronus castrates his own father.
This one incredibly violent act has massive consequences. It permanently separates the sky from the earth. And from that violence, new life springs forth. The blood that spills on Gaia gives birth to the Furies, the spirits of vengeance, and the mighty giants. Meanwhile, the sea foam from the castration creates Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Think about that. A single act of rebellion literally births both vengeance and love into the world.
You'd think that would be the end of it. Problem solved. But Gaia's story is a cycle. Cronus takes over, but he turns out to be just as much of a tyrant as his father was, and that sets the stage for Gaia to play kingmaker all over again.
So Cronus hears this prophecy that he's going to be overthrown by his own kid, and his brilliant solution is to just swallow his children as soon as they're born. His wife, Rhea, is devastated and runs to her mother, Gaia, for help. And what does Gaia do? She comes up with another clever plan. She tells Rhea to wrap a big rock, the Omphalos stone, in a blanket and give that to Cronus to swallow, while she smuggles the real baby, Zeus, off to a hidden cave in Crete.
Fast forward a few years, Zeus is all grown up and waging a 10-year war against Cronus and the Titans. The war is a complete stalemate. Nobody's winning. And guess who breaks the tie? Gaia. Her prophetic wisdom shows Zeus the way to win. He has to go down into the pit of Tartarus and free her monstrous children, the very same ones Uranus locked up in the first place.
Once again, her strategic mind is the key to victory. So, Zeus wins. He sets up the Olympian order on Mount Olympus. And for the third time, Gaia, the power behind the throne, turns on the very king she helped create. This is her last and her most vicious rebellion.
This table just lays it all out so perfectly. Look at her motivation every single time. Her loyalty is never ever to a particular ruler or a political system. It is always 100% for her children, all of them. It doesn't matter if it's the Cyclopes, Zeus, or the Titans. Her rebellions are always driven by this fierce, protective, maternal instinct.
To Zeus, winning the war meant locking up the Titans in Tartarus. But to Gaia, this was just history repeating itself. Another tyrant, another set of her children locked away in the dark. So she riles up her other kids, the giants, and incites them to wage an all-out war on Olympus. They called it the Gigantomachy, and it was a battle for the fate of the entire cosmos.
And when the giants failed, Gaia unleashed her ultimate weapon. She literally coupled with Tartarus, the abyss itself, to create Typhon. This thing was a 100-headed, fire-breathing monster so unbelievably terrifying that the Olympian gods literally ran away in a panic. Zeus eventually managed to take him down and bury him under Mount Etna, but it was the absolute closest the Olympians ever came to being destroyed.
Gaia's rebellions did eventually end, but her story? Oh, that was far from over. Her legacy as the primordial Earth Mother is one of the most powerful in all of mythology, and it continues to shape how we see our world even now.
For instance, you've heard of the oracle at Delphi, right? Well, long before Apollo ever showed up, that oracle belonged to Gaia. The prophecies were thought to be the actual breath of the earth, rising up from a crack in the ground. She was the original source of cosmic truth and a guardian of oaths, because hey, as the earth, she saw everything. And what's so incredible is that thousands of years later, her name was resurrected for a huge scientific idea. In the 1970s, the scientist James Lovelock came up with the Gaia hypothesis. It suggests that our entire planet, all of its life, its oceans, its atmosphere, acts like a single, massive, self-regulating living organism.
And today, the European Space Agency has a mission named Gaia that's mapping our galaxy. Her name is used in environmental movements as this powerful symbol of a living, connected planet. So the question she kind of leaves us with is this: if our Earth really is a single living system, what happens when it feels threatened? Just like that ancient mother, will it groan? And will it rebel?